Hello, my name is Alun. My pronouns are he, him, and today I'm running the third session of Against the Sith Conspiracy. This is a hack of my own game, Against a Dark Conspiracy, that we've put together to celebrate May the 4th be with you, the mini-con that the Open Hearth gaming community has organised on May the 4th, and we're now playing the successive sessions. If you don't know about the Open Hearth gaming community, please look us up, search Open Hearth gaming community, and you will find us, and come join us, come play with us, because we have a great time. I'm sure you would. So with the commercial completed, what I want to do is we've got a returning player today who missed last time, and we're missing a player today who had a previous arrangement that meant he couldn't come. So we're going to do a kind of previously on Against the Sith Conspiracy. Just to put this in time and place, this is set before the final trilogy, or what we think is the final trilogy. This is early in the life of the New Republic, as deniable assets of the New Republic, in the sense of New Republic intelligence, are investigating what is by some parts of the New Republic believed to be a secret Sith conspiracy, that the Sith did not fall when Palpatine fell. And as we will find out in that final trilogy, they were right. But for now, these are our operators seeking to work out and hinder any existing Sith conspiracy. So let's do our previously then. So I'll kick off. Previously on Against the Sith Conspiracy, we see the team interrogating a captured scientist. This scientist worked for Zsinj, the fragment of empire, I suppose, that has survived the fall of the empire. And he's working on stealth technology. And he and someone that they captured during their first operation gives them a lead to where she was supposed to hand over the scientist. The assumption is that there is a sinister Sith presence at that meeting. And so that is where our team head in this montage. So let me go next. Jason, give us a bit of anything you can remember from last time that might be in that pre-title montage that gives us a chance to learn a little bit about your character.
Let's see. So I think last time we infiltrate's probably too sophisticated a word for what we did. We didn't storm in. We kind of walked in, and then all hell broke loose at the Hutt's palace, which I guess was a gym. I guess it's a misty sauna-like gym, and there was a prolonged combat there. I don't know how that would be in a montage, but we also have learned that the stealth tech that's up in the Zsinj's flagship, that the shadowy figures, presumably the Sith, were interested in. And that's why the scientists fled from Zsinj out of fear of these shadowy figures.
That's a very good summary. I'm kind of surprised that we don't in that montage. We have to have in that montage an opportunity for us to see your character Kitporin, the former Special Operations Wookie, confronting a pair of Gamorrean sumo wrestlers who are providing the entertainment in the club, and throwing them through pieces of furniture and indeed the fabric of the building. Mm-hmm. Let's move on. So Will, give us a little bit more for Joe, just so he's got some sense of how our climactic scenes ran involving Van.
After the scene of the scientist saying it was the cloaking technology I was working on up there in orbit. That's what they want. We cut to that steam roomy sauna place with the Gamorrean guards in the hut, and Van kicking the scientist onto the ground, and the hut going "Woo-ja-da-woo," as a shadowy figure steps forward. Lightsabers ignite. Van goes straight for the Sith. That's when we see Kit throw those Gamorreans through the thing. We see Sen throw a few grenades around and then leg it out the door, just as Zsinj's crack special forces guys, the Raptors, come storming through the windows of the Hut Palace, essentially dropping their hammer on this conspiracy, using Imperial assets for the benefit of the Huts and some other shadowy third party. Zsinj isn't going to stand for that. And I think the last shot is of Van stabbing that Sith and then being buried under rubble, and then being held in Kit's arms as he takes him to safety out of there, unconscious. Perhaps with his hand clutched around something that could be defined in this episode.
Who knows? Who knows? So that Joe is where we kind of left off. We'll reintegrate Halo as we go. Perhaps my love letter is going to be, what were you doing while they were, involved in this attempt to scam information out of the Hut that went kind of pretty wildly? Because I think the plan was labeled, let's extemporize when we get there.
Could I suggest it? The other love letter could be, how do we get away from the Imperials in the ship that Halo was flying?
Joe, we've learned a little bit about Van and his lightsaber. We learned a little bit about Kit and his ability to throw Gamorreans about. Just tell us a little bit about what was Halo doing while the rest of the team were kind of trying to scam info out of the Hut.
Probably not just taking a nap, but perhaps. I could have thought about this better before the session, but
and I should have given you that opportunity by telling you I was going to do this. So I mean, don't feel obliged to do that now. We can do it as a flashback if you'd like a bit of time to muse.
I kind of was thinking that maybe she was off on like a little side gig or something, because any chance to make money to do do the things that she wants to do. That feels reasonably selfish and greedy. So,
and is this a kind of on-planet scam, or does this require her to travel somewhere else in the system?
I think on planet, because I do kind of like Will's idea that maybe she could show up precipitously as needed. So,
and is this some kind of is this, because I'm just looking at your skill set and I'm wondering which bit of your skill set this side job relates to, because we're playing with larceny, piloting, and intrusion. Sounds like piloting may not be the kind of side gig.
Yeah, I think it's larcenous for sure. Maybe an old contact or something wanted her help to steal something. Make it simple.
Fine. So frame me the climatic scene in this effort to steal something, and then we'll roll the dice and see how it goes.
Okay. I think maybe it's pretty standard stuff. It's just maybe there's some sort of payroll type heist, right? Where they're and I think maybe what we see is I'm envisioning some sort of like armored vehicle type thing, maybe kind of along the lines of the scene, maybe you do or don't, in Rogue One where they ambush the convoy in the town there. So you've got this sort of vehicle, but it's sort of more of like a payroll thing. I think you'll see them when they go to transfer the money out, sort of a pretty standard, they swoop in, lots of explosions, and there's nothing subtle about it. I think maybe I'd like to see it go a little wrong, but then she grabs the bulk of the stuff and takes off. So maybe she's also kind of pissed off her companions, but like it was going a little sideways. There was a little more heat than they thought, and she had the chance to grab the the dough. And
I'm seeing, I'm going old west here. I'm seeing people, holding up the stagecoach, and then throwing, the bag of the goodies to the getaway driver. And as they turn to jump into the speeder or whatever it is you're driving, you're out of there because you've noticed a whole bunch of stormtroopers, up the street behind you. So let's have you roll to flee for your life with pilot as valid expertise.
all right, let me get my die roller. I'd like to claim that it's early, but I think at the same time as it is where Jason is, so I can't really get away with that. So
You're an hour earlier than I am, but yeah.
there we go. It's definitely that. All right, so gray die.
Gray dice, orange dice, stress
Dice.
dice, green stress if you want it.
Of course. Right. And
5, and it's not on the stress dice. So, flee for your life, that goes fine. You get away clean unless I choose to spend heat to have you pursued. I am going to spend heat to get you pursued. And this perhaps does explain why the team get out of that building without being pursued by any of Zsinj's TIE fighters or anything else. Because the available overwatch is suddenly focused on a bank raid, a robbery in transit of a stormtrooper pay convoy. So I'm going to spend some heat because I've got heat to spend, and have you pursued. So flee for your life and tell me how you are trying to shake, because this is a built-up city, so it's not like they're kind of blasting the ground, but you're going to need to lose them. So what do we see you doing? And you might want to describe the vehicle. I don't know.
yeah, so it's not our ship, right? It's more just like a speeder type thing. Yeah, I think basically she's just kind of balls to the wall, flying through the city, not much care for the life or limb of anyone else. So you see her, flying up onto like walking areas, I don't know if they'd be similar to sidewalks. I also sense that is this like Coruscant where it's multi-level, or is
Absolutely.
this more... Yeah, so like I like the idea of like, the going and then all of a sudden, straight dives down into another space.
These canyons made, constructed. Go roll the dice again. Because sooner or later I'm going to get you.
Well, I'll keep spending stress. So
Oh, home free, and I'm not gonna gift the team any more heat relief. What is it that finally shakes your TIE fighter tail?
yeah, I think that there's like a large she skirts through sort of like a industrialish sort of district, and there's a large type of transport type vehicle, very large, and she's able to skirt through it or around it right before it kind of cuts off the TIE fighters.
Maybe we see them,
pounds into it or something. Yeah,
over the top. Great. I thought that might generate me some stress or some heat or you some intel. It didn't do either of those things, but it explains why City Overwatch, the close air patrol was not a problem for the team escaping. So I'm going to cut back, I think, to the ship where all three of you are together, with the exception of Zen, who was, he left at pace when things turned bad, having thrown a couple of grenades at people and having bounced back towards him. So Sen the Rhodian has made a dash for it and has not made it back to the rendezvous point. So we'll worry about what happen to Zen next time. But for now, let's do the debrief. And I think what it's fair to say is that was despite it being quite violent, did the team achieve the stated objective of the operation? Now, the stated objective of the operation was find out who is behind Danga the Hutt. And I think now that it is definitely, the Sith are behind Danga the Hutt, because where else does a sinister presence, a hooded sinister presence,
and we didn't
have a lightsaber?
Yeah, I don't think that we actually nailed it down, but I do remember when we were coming up with the briefing, I was like, can I change that to kill the person behind Angular? Right, and that's what we did.
You did. So I think on the basis of that, I'm going to answer yes to that question. And did the team finish it's in the core rules supernatural, these rules are Sith. So the answer to that is yes. I will reduce heat by 1 for each of those, which gives us a bit of breathing room. The conspiracy now remains absolutely suspicious, but is not yet as drifted back from alarmed. Whatever that Sith might have been going to tell the conspiracy went with them. Unless they crawl out of that wreckage of that, who knows? We saw the fall, we saw the kind of the black gloved hand under a piece of masonry, but who knows? We'll find out later.
You can spend heat to do that, right? Can't you?
I can spend heat to do whatever I like in a way, can't I? There's always a complication. You thought it was, but in fact, no. Anyway. And the other bit then is to think about, did you achieve your objective? Yes, you did. All of you reduced stress by 1. And I must do Sen as well. There we go. That's remarkable.
I think you gave that to us at the end of
last did I?
Session.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I know I already marked it. But...
Fine. I mean, it did strike me that you were all remarkably low in stress given how tight things had got. So I probably did. So you now know the Sith are involved, but it looks like you've closed off that avenue of investigation, because there were 2 avenues of investigation following session 1, which was the stealth tech and the sinister presence. Well, you've had sinister presence, and we're hoping it's still under that pile of masonry. The question now is, where next? So we'll think about that in a moment, but first of all, I'm going to give you some downtime if you want it. Who's got the most stress? Let me come to Kitporin the Wookie first then, Jason.
Yeah.
So is there, what do we see? Do you want a scene with another character? Do you want to frame a scene out there in the world where you're seeking relief from the horror? What do we see?
Yeah, if it's okay with Joe, I'm going to act badly towards Halo, behave badly. And there's this part you've added, I see. Let me ask you about it. Secretly from the horror. Embrace the dark side. If you mark dark side when you choose to behave badly, you get a chance to basically help get your stress down. Would that just be a matter of like behaving even more badly, to engage the dark side?
I think it's you tell me how the dark side motivates you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's enough.
Okay. All right. So I think I'm going to give that a try. So I think what we see is, probably once we're clear, Halo's like, okay, the computer's taken over, flying the ship. And we see a big, furry arm grab him. Is it him? I forget your pronouns.
It's her.
Grab her. And, instead of just like lifting her up in the air and questioning her, I think I'm actually going to throw her into the airlock and start to cycle it. So like I slam the door and looking through the window, and I'm like, we got set up, back at Metroplex 13, and it seems just a little convenient that you disappeared right after, and lo and behold, here you are with a bag full of credits. I think you need to explain yourself, Halo, and you got about 30 seconds to do it.
What's your response to that, Halo?
So we're in the ship?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's what, you don't like credits? This is to help us finance our stuff. All this stuff that you guys, all your guns and your everything like that don't come cheap. Someone has to help pay for everything we're doing here. Why don't you stand down and don't be a fool. And by the way, if you jettison me out the airlock, good luck flying the ship.
Okay. Should we roll that now, or should we?
I think so. I think
Okay.
so.
Okay. So I'll just roll the stress die.
Yeah, pick a dice that you like.
You reduce one stress automatically, right? So I'll take that
Yes.
off. All right, and then I'll roll. And then I get a 6.
That's 6. So let's see how this works with. If you roll 1 to 5 when you seek relief, get an extra 1. So on a 6, you get the old 6, which is 4 plus they're an operator. They take it really badly. Agree with them why they are so hurt by what has happened. Well, I think we got a sense of that. And Halo, you roll for stress.
Sorry, is that just the stress die?
Yeah, just any dice that you think is going to be kind to you. You want your current stress or less. And
Nope.
I
Nope.
can't quite. Fine. You that's fine. That's a win all round. So what happens then is that Kit, you mark your second dark side, and you reduce stress by a second 1.
Got it.
And I think that probably the audience sees this as the dark side in action, because so far Kit has been the kind of reasonable giant. We know he can be violent in the right circumstances, but he's always been the moderating influence. And the dark side, that this isn't like Kit.
Right. So I think what happens is I say, you're right. And I take the money and I open the door and I growl and I walk away. But I take her money. This will be for the Republic.
Van, let me come to you. Do you want to seek relief from the horror? Or do you want to phrase a scene with another character or somewhere else?
I thought I might use my intel, because I've built up quite a lot of it, to during downtime, during the debrief, you can during downtime you can spend intel to establish a new safe house, which in this sense I think would be listen, the Imperials are going to be, Zsinj is going to be looking for this ship after taking us out of here. Van says, holding his bruised and battered ribs and, cinematically from cuts on his face, because I was quite badly injured at the end of the last session. But obviously that just requires the med kit to stop, right? As far as I'm aware in the rules. But yeah, I know a guy, he can reach it, he can change the transponder, take us off the radar. We'll look just like any other ship. So I thought we might establish the ship, use that move here.
Yeah, I mean, I by all means. I mean, I wasn't certain if you wanted to do that. I mean, I was going to do that anyway. You can have that for free. We can define the ship, but reduce heat was where I thought you might go with this. Spend intel 1-to-1 to reduce heat, because that's what you just described.
Well, it was more me trying to fictionally position a way of of finding some aspect of the ship, as opposed to it's changed.
I'll give you that for nothing.
Yeah, we'll get that for nothing. I actually quite like you having heat to play with. We're not at attack. We're quite far down on the heat scale, anyways. I'm only at 2 stress. I've already said the member of the team I care least about. You know what I will do? I will spend a point of intel to take my Zsinj Vinvosh, the Dathomirian witch, off the target list. As I think, what did I do? I think our NRI handler just sends me a brief code burst of casualties reported in like some sort of conflict between the New Republic and Zsinj, and buried among that is a Dathomirian woman, 55, suspected to be witch kind of thing. So he's inserted her into a list of casualties, basically.
Fine. No, I like that. Let me then go, Joe, what about Halo? You're currently on 3 stress. Do you want a bit of respite from that?
Yeah. So I believe she's going to indulge in a vice.
Frame me a scene.
So are we currently on the ship? Are we?
We can cut that back and forth any which way you want to go.
Yeah, I think what we see is she kind of slips away from everyone, and we see her, navigating down through the dark, shady, alleyways, and comes to a door, and it's like she has like a, I don't know whether it's a knock or a signal, and they let her in, and it's kind of like maybe kind of like a, what you might think of as like an opium den type place or whatever. And then I think we see her hand some credits to somebody, and then she goes to I don't know, some sort of little booth, and it's sort of like maybe like a hookah type thing that she's seeking escape in that.
Losing herself. Then reduce stress by 1, and let's have you roll a d6 to see whether there are any well, there are going to be consequences, but
All right. At a 2.
2, you're ashamed of yourself and distracted by the need for just 1 more hit. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again. So there's a drop down that will make your expertise unavailable until stress goes up. Anybody else want to set another scene, or are we content?
I would like to maybe have before we roll straight into it, like the discussion of like what next, for our mission kind of thing, and going on that. Yeah.
Let's start with the ship then.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's your ship, Halo, so you get to name it. And I appreciate that, often the case is that in our games, it takes 40 minutes to name a ship. So feel free to mull that over. What I'm curious to know is, what's it like? If when we see it on screen, what's its most distinctive characteristic, I suppose?
I think when we first played, Joe, you said something about it was like the ship from Star Wars Rebels, which I just Googled.
Yeah. It's a pretty standard looking. I think maybe the most distinctive thing about it is I'd like it to have sort of like a big, sort of like a, how World War II bombers or whatever, they would have like the pinup, sort of like, a lot of times you'd see that painted on the side of it. I'd like some sort of, there's some sort of like mildly offensive sort of artwork like that up near the cockpit, so to speak.
So what I've written in is its most distinctive characteristic is the offensive / risque art that decorates it.
Yeah.
And unless you tell me different, I am going to go with, hang on, let's see if I can copy that image.
It's Princess Leia in that bikini from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, which really annoys, General Organa. I've added. I think that's the ship that we're talking about. I've added it to the tab. Where shall I go with this one? Yeah, I think I'm going to stick because it's your ship, Hill. I'm going to ask you who's after it because we only got 3 of you here today, so you get 2 questions. Who's after it? Why is it not, entirely yours? Or maybe it is entirely yours, but somebody else still wants it.
I think maybe maybe there's some sort of hut or boss that she screwed up a job for. Everybody gets boarded, even me. And so she like dumped the cargo or did something like that and owes that, and so now they kind of so she owes them that, and so they're after they'll take the ship, right? That's the more, it's more valuable than her skin, I suppose. So
I mean, I think that's really neat because what I'm writing down is the Hutt cartel are after it because Halo screwed up a job for them. Maybe that's why she avoided Danga's Gamorrean sumo club. Best that no Hutt knows exactly where you are, Halo. Okay, let me come to Kit. Kit, what's the single thing it's best at?
It has lots of hidden compartments. Very well camouflaged.
Just as you'd want for a smuggler.
Mm-hmm. ...
Okay. What's wrong with it, Van? What's its weakest point?
Its weakest point is that it's very recognizable. Like I think we had that layer organa thing, right? So I think everybody sees that and knows exactly. It's not a low-key, nondescript ship. It's a yeah, it's that one.
So whatever, very recognizable if someone gets a good look at it, though there's always the option to mess with the transponder so it, inverted commas, looks different to scans, etc. Fair enough. That leaves the door open on you can tinker with the transponder, but if someone gets a look at that artwork, and of course Halo, people are always nagging you, just paint out the Princess Leia thing. You're just asking for trouble. What do you say to them when they tell you that?
I think she likes to allude that maybe there was some history or something there that I couldn't do that. It's sentimental value.
Like that. In terms of the gear benefit it does it offer, we'll work out what all those credits that Halo stole by you if and when we need to. Yeah. So that's our ship. Now I think we have that scene where you're all around that they always have a round table on these ships, it seems to be. You're all around that round table with that kind of banquette around the back, having the conversation about, well, what do we do next, guys? So let me start with Kit. Kit, what's your 2 penneth worth on where this mission goes next?
Well, I think I say like Will was saying, that like stealth tech is really a rare thing in this universe. So I think hearing that is scary. So I think I push for us to infiltrate onto is Iron Fist, is that the name of
Yeah.
it? And we've got to destroy that tech. That would be too much of a threat to the Republic. I think the best way to infiltrate onto that ship is to allow ourselves to be captured. Just put that out there too.
Van, what are you thinking at this point?
I think going undercover's better. I think we make some calls, we move our way in, we get in there, we slip in. Going in as captives just puts us under their guns, under fire, under attention. And he winces as he moves. You know, we pulled that off once already with the Huts. I don't fancy doing it on Zsinj's flagship, but you know, they're going to be using Wookiee labor on there for sure. If they're doing any heavy machinery. The Zsinj loves a strong pair of hands as much as anyone. And I think Halo is what species is that?
Myrialian.
Yeah. I mean, even the Imperial, you know, the one thing that Zsinj does differently than the Empire is this whole corporate state partnership. I got some contacts we could maybe get on there as a work crew, contractors. I think it's either that or infiltration. I think going in as captains, though, I don't think we got the pull for that.
Okay, well, what I've written in at the moment is I've got two options on the table. There is the inverted commas secret intrusion using a corp contractor team cover, or get ourselves captured.
And I think Van looks at Kit and says, "But you know, getting captured is always a plan B, even if you want to or not."
Well, Halo's got all of these compartments on the ship. We could do it the same way that you know, Han Solo and Luke did it back in the day. They'll draw the ship in with their tractor beam, and we'll hide out in these compartments.
I think Zsinj just blows out of the sky here above his home planet.
Well, that depends on how you spend your intel, doesn't it?
Does.
And how well your briefing goes.
Do we still have Yerevan, or is he in the wind?
I think Yerevan ran for it, didn't he?
Yeah, I threw him out the door. So
yeah,
exactly. But yeah.
Well, hang on. Before we get
a contact to do anything.
Yeah, but before we kind of go there, I want to just get a view from Halo as to there are two approaches on the table, Halo. Which of those intrigues you most, and/or is there a third one?
Yeah, so she's not going to agree with Kit in any way, shape, or form, whether she wants to or not. And so she's like, Van's right, getting captured, hell, we'll probably get killed anyway. So that's I think that's off the table. But if I remember correctly, Van knows somebody. We could change we could change the transponder of the ship, and we could just go on as a supply ship or a transport ship, right? And just get in, and something like that. That's probably our safest bet, because we're going to be pretty obvious wandering around on a Star Destroyer, right? But if we're there like we're supposed to be, and I think she's also thinking to herself, these rebels always wanting to destroy stuff, there's probably profit in this data about this stealth tech. So she's thinking to herself about, maybe she's going to be thinking about a way to purloin with that with the information before they blow it up. So
it looks like Get Ourselves Captured is moving off the table. I suppose the challenge is that we've just said that the ship is very recognizable if someone gets a close look at it. But I will remind you that pilot and the associated vehicle expertise allows you, Halo, to define any vehicle within reason to be part of the op. So, you know, if you say you want access to a nondescript, you know, hauler that will be your means of getting the Iron Fist, that's fine.
So, can she do that even though her expertise can't be used right now because she's...
Yeah, because it's a characteristic. You don't get the dice roll, but your skill set remains the same. You just don't get the benefit because you're just wondering about the next hit. So yeah, so
that, or we could steal one of their one of the transport ships. Because I'm assuming there's ships that are going back and forth between the surface and the Star Destroyer. So we could just you know,
we could do the Return of the Jedi rather than A New Hope.
Yeah,
you know, slip in on an Imperial shuttle with their Imperial
supplies for the Force Moon.
Yeah,
parts and technical supplies for the Force Moon.
Yeah, I like that.
What I'm just saying, we know that the Gravhammer, this Cassanti class cruiser, is in orbit above Carannia. So I'm going to say the Gravhammer provides picket duty for the flagship. So it's the Gravhammer you have to convince to get close to the flagship, I think is what I'm going to say based on that bit of conversation. Because I don't want to lose the Gravhammer because we mentioned it in episode 1. Is that broadly the plan then? Corporate contractor, public-private partnership, you know, team, and that's going to require a ship that isn't yours.
I mean, I was thinking that, you know, just because it's recognizable just means that when they suspect things, they'll go like, oh, you know, one of the ways you could spend heat would be for it to be there on the table, as opposed, because we haven't actually done anything with the ship as of yet against Zsinj, right? Like it's recognizable to the conspiracy. As far as Zsinj is concerned, it might be like, hey, wait a minute, isn't that ship there? I wouldn't say it's off the table.
No, you know? I go with that. Go with that. I was just trying to play into Halo's vehicle expertise.
Yeah. I mean, I'm open to any of them, you know, like, but I'm just saying if you wanted to have the ship at the table. But anyway.
Yeah, we could try to disguise the ship. We could try to put a plate over the thing, and that could be a fun thing that could happen later if we're in trouble, that thing falls off.
I mean, I like the idea of taking the ship. Do we have one more session of this?
We have one after this.
One after this. I mean,
well, actually, let's have that conversation now, because I had a brief conversation with Jason and Joe before you arrived about, we have this session and the next one. The consensus prior to your arrival was that we try to do an op in this session and we do a finale next time. Yeah.
So my question would be, are we going to get a better finale than a mission aboard the Iron Fist? Is this an op to get on board the Iron Fist? Is this operation what we need to do to get onto the Iron Fist? You know, like, is this the steal the Imperial shuttle, change the tags, get the uniform, set up our entry, and then the next op, the final op, is the you're on the Super Star Destroyer, you're on Zsinj's flagship, you're getting the MacGuffin kind of thing. That would be my preference, I think, purely just in terms of I don't know where we go after the Star Destroyer in terms of you know, now that we've moved on to the Super Star Destroyer, Zsinj's flagship seems like the finale to me.
Jason, you had a view. What do you think?
That works for me.
Okay, so this operational objective for this operation is becoming steal an Imperial shuttle, etc., for a covert entry in plain sight to the Iron Fist.
Secure our means of entry to the Iron Fist. Kind of however we want to go with from there.
Fine. So that's what success will look like. That's going to require a little bit of jiggery pokery around a Wookiee, but we can cross that bridge when we get to it, because those uniforms are always a little snug on a Wookiee, I find.
Yeah, but the slave collar is not, sadly.
Yeah, no, I mean, that then we're back to who's guarding the Wookiee. Okay, so it looks like then this is not aboard Zsinj's flagship. We're to do that in the finale. So let's run through this then. So let's start with you, Will. It was your idea. Who or what is the focus of the operation? How are you going to get access to this? Is this through somebody or something?
I think this is through either Osiris or Yen Group. If we look at Carannia City, the two corporations, Osiris Business Core is computer tech. They aggressively support the use of slave races and impairing any droid sentient rights movements. Or Yen Group, who dominate the city with their sprawling shipping offices, provide corporations with every type of shipping desired. So shipping seems like a good fit for that. So which do we think? I mean, Osiris is the much more sinister name, isn't it, frankly?
It is.
Let's go with Osiris.
Yeah. And it fits with the use of inverted commas slave races, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I also will feel better about perhaps killing people in the Osiris Corporation than I will do about the FedEx Corporation, even if they're all evil megacorps.
So that sounds like we are looking at a company or corporation.
Mm-hmm. Osiris.
Okay. Let me go to you next, Jason. Where is this operation to give you this kind of access going to be?
Let me look at the pick list here. What I want to do is have it be somewhere. We mentioned Forest Moon, so it's like a very like a transport hub or something on a forested area, if it's a moon or an area near the Carannia City, something like that. So I don't know if that fits in any of these.
I think there's one that says
transport hub.
Exactly so.
Transport hub.
And then there should be, I can't remember what the details underneath that. They're designed for
/dockyard.
Early 21st century. So
yeah. So yeah, like I said, as a sort of like a forested, maybe like a structure, like an elevated structure in a forest, with all kinds of landing pads with transports, maybe some slave camps or something at the base, something, that's what I'm visualizing.
The sort of thing that, Zsinj doesn't want to see near the city. So it's kind of outside. So a remote forested area beyond Carannia City. Yeah.
Perfect.
Does that
start
as a base? What's the threat that we'll be facing, Joe? What does Halo want to see in terms of opposition?
And this is opposition to getting their means onto the ship.
Yes. What is Osiris going to put in the field?
Looking at the list, probably mercenaries of some sort.
Fine. Make the selection.
So you would also mention there was some sort of elite. Zsinj had some sort of elite.
That's true. Last time we saw the Raptors, kind of burst into the sumo wrestling club, because I think Van dropped a false lead into the ears of one of Zsinj's security people, and that prompted a raid and it ended up being allowed you to get on with stuff while they were distracted by the assault from the Raptors.
Oh, I have an idea. How about maybe Osiris is subcontracting to some organized crime, and it's some Hutt people that may or may not know who she is.
I think that's great. I would love to have you contracting with some hut people. Because we were introduced to some hut people last time, and it would be jolly good fun to have them suddenly crop up in an odd position, odd situation. I think it's fairly obvious what they're doing, but I'll come back round to Van. What are they doing? Is it the obvious or something less obvious?
We need to. I can't look at what they are doing until someone selects whatever they're selecting from what is the threat the operators will face.
So if I select nameless organized crime goons, that should give you a list.
Cool. They are. I think that what's happening here, and I think that our window of opportunity, right, for this ship, for Osiris, for them not immediately telling Zsinj that, like the cover of it all, is that this is where Osiris, this is the transport hub that Osiris is collecting ill-gotten gains and selling stolen goods. So this is where, because these are megacore, right, and they might be aligned with, they might be employed by Zsinj, but there's a credit everywhere, right? And this is where they skim off the top of their imperial contracts. This is where they are funneling back in. They're selling the stuff that falls off the back of a speeder. So like, this is the perfect, as we're going over the databases and everything, like, they've got 10 transport hubs or whatever around Carannia City, but this one way out here on the outskirts in the remote sectors, this is the perfect one, because I know that's where they do their ill-gotten gains through. And anything that goes down there, they're not going to tell Zsinj, because it'll mean that it'll come back harder on them.
Okay, what I've written down, there's a relationship between the Huts and Osiris involving skimming off the top of imperial contracts.
Yeah.
Away from the public eye. There you go. I like that. Do it like that. Fair enough. So that's our setup. I'm noticing it's 2 minutes past the hour, so that's very convenient for a break. I'm going to suggest we're back in our seats at 10 past the hour. I'll see you then. Okay. We know the outline plan. We know broadly what we're talking about. It seems to me that there are a number of stages to the operation: breaching the perimeter, then, obtaining the ship. And I'm imagining that at the end of this operation, if all goes well, we'll go, we'll have a debrief in flight and be on our way to the Iron Fist before anyone is the wiser. So with all that in mind, let me start. Jason, let me start with Kit.
Okay.
Does Kit want to frame an investigative scene to add some flesh to this, to the briefing that we have so far?
Yeah, I think we see Kit lurking in the forest with a green, like, camouflage netting over his gray fur, or maybe up in a tree, high up in a tree, reconning their position, hopefully using my military field craft.
I think that works perfectly. With those kind of strange binoculars that and we get a zoom into stuff. So you're using expertise is in play. Stress dice if you want it.
Yeah, let's do it. 5.
5. So what is the key thing you're looking for? And you'll get that for free.
Which transport is least well defended, or easiest to grab, basically?
Yeah, fine. I think that there is a commercial carrier that looks like it's going to be the easiest to grab. There are a couple of those nice folding wing Imperial shuttles on one of the pads. If you wanted it, I'm prepared to have the grav hammer here if you wanted it. But yeah, in terms of the easiest to get, Yeah, it's a big one. Yeah, absolutely. You know,
I don't think we could steal the grav hammer.
well, you know, I just didn't want to take it off the table. I've got deck plans for it.
It'd be worth a lot of money. Yeah, let's go with the graph hammer. Why not? You know, Alan's ready with that, so let's use it.
And it's genuinely not as big
That
as
we're
you
going to
think it
steal,
is.
like, it just says that we're going to steal like a Star Trek sized. It's
No,
small,
really, the grav
but it's
hammer's
not
not that
small.
big. It's really
Yeah,
not that
Alan
big.
said it's not that big. Yeah, it's
Because
bigger than like
I think
it's
bigger
like
like than
anti-class.
the Gullwing thing, right? The transports, but it's
Yeah.
not that big. Yeah, okay.
it's
Yeah, let's
gotta
go with that.
probably Millennium Falconish size, a little bit bigger, maybe. I think.
Yeah. I'll put a picture in the thing for a minute.
No,
In
you
a
are
minute.
right, because anti-class cruiser is 12 crew of 12, so not that big.
You know?
Yeah.
It's,
And then I get one question, right?
and then
with
you
the
get one
5,
question.
or I can establish something. I would like to establish that it has a really nice cupola or like a gun turret, you know. And I don't know if this is the time to do it, because I do want to spend an intel to have like a TIE fighter fight as we're getting out of here. So we can come back to that or whatever.
Hang on to that one, and we'll put that back in the picture.
Okay. So
So what I'm making a
nice
note
guns.
of, or you can put this in if you like, is that the grav hammer with its crew of 12 is not subject, because you asked me which one is the easiest to get, and the grav hammer is not currently subject to any additional security. You know, there's not a whole rank of stormtroopers guarding that pad.
Okay.
Let me go next to Halo. Halo, do you want to kind of flesh out this this situation, or?
Yeah. So I think that they're going to use their intrusion skills, and I think we're going to see them maybe hooked up at some sort of like console or something, and they're looking for they are inserting like essentially IDs or identities for us, so that when we get there, we're like we don't have to sneak around the ship around, right, so that we're like legitimately supposed to be there.
So that's to get on the site.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
no, I think what she's doing here is, and maybe this is too far forward, but she's like essentially inserting identities and credentials for them, so that when they get onto the Star Destroyer, they are like, if they get like tagged, they have like a reason to be there.
I think probably that's a preparatory scene for our finale operation.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you know, this is about lifting off from this site in the grav hammer. So I think keep that one for next time. It's still a good idea for this time if you want to insert, you know, if you want to hack the Osiris system with the intention of trying to make you, you know, legitimate arrivals at this this complex.
Yeah.
If it's preparatory, I'm going to put it on the shelf. We come back to it before we launch. Van, what about you? Do you want to add to the briefing?
So we've got to steal the grav hammer from this base. We know that it is protected by local crime. The grav hammer, you know, the complication of having the grav hammer is the grav hammer's commander has honor and duty is my life, is her character note. So
indeed, so it is.
That whatever illegal activity is going on here, away from the public eye, away from, you know, Zsinj's empire, like sanction stuff, that the grav hammer itself is here on an actual legitimate job. Okay. Sorry, I'm just dealing with the layers of complicated complexity here now. It's the grav hammer rather than a shuttle.
I mean, it does say that she keeps her ship locked down.
Yeah.
So, it's not like there are ranks of stormtroopers around it, but you can expect it to be locked down. That's general knowledge that Dami Jazard does not mess about.
We need a way to take her out of the equation, though, because she's the thing that will stop it from going off without a hit, right? Like, if we steal the grav hammer and she's still around and communicative, then she's not an officer who's going to cover it up because the Hutts are doing crime here, because honor and duty are her life. So, I don't know. I really, sorry. I just the making of the grav hammer has completely skewed all of my ideas of how to do anything here, because it is now it's gone from steal a ship to steal an Imperial ship, steal the Imperial ship with a loyal captain. I'm not seeing any. We've managed to paint ourselves into a. I don't really know what to do. I'll just take a prep.
You could could you just use your authority maybe to intimidate her?
She's got more authority.
Frame a scene like that.
She's an Imperial officer. I'm nobody.
I think that
lightsabers can be,
Yeah. I guess a prep action to kidnap her beforehand. I don't know. Or I know what it is. It is duty and honor of her life, which is why it's so shocking that the raid on Danga the Hutt's palace found evidence of her financial transactions and this large amount of credits that was deposited into her account. So I want to remove her from play, basically. Here's a prep action.
Okay, so we're going to have a prep action where we will flash back to you attempting to leave some incriminating information about Captain Jazard.
I will call upon the Bottega clan, who fans may remember from sessions of Neon City Overdrive. The Three Stooges worth of Jawas. Sometimes they may all put on one big coat and pretend to be a larger being. I think that was the idea for the character, was I want to have 3 Jawas that put on a big coat. So yeah, they're slicers. They can break into systems. So they are going to break into the Imperial system, and teeny kind of thing as a.
So this is your briefing, your prep scene is going to be calling a contact, spend the stress, and roll with expertise to try and slice your way into the system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fine. So where shall we begin? I think that that's the briefing as we have it so far. I think that we'll run the prep scene for Halo's effort and intrusion at the point when you approach the gate into the complex. And then we'll run Van's preparatory action at the point when you are likely to confront Captain Jazard or get aboard the grav hammer, because then we'll know if she's there or not. Yeah. But I do want to offer you an opportunity to spend some intel if you want to further shape the op. So you will see that there is on the option for you to define an obstacle. Now, Jason, I know you're keen on a TIE fighter duel. A TIE fighter. I just put on the table the fact that the TIE fighter duel with the grav hammer may attract some attention. I'm very happy for you to do that, but just be aware of the fictional positioning that gives me.
Well, given the setup we have, maybe it won't be TIE fighters. Maybe it'll be, like mercenary ships.
Fine. And I like the idea of someone perhaps spending some intel or spending some stress to call in a contact to stage an attack on the grav hammer. What about that as a possibility? I like that. But do you want to spend intel to have something like that happen?
Right. I'll spend my one and only intel to have established that we're going to have some sort of, some sort of battle, some sort of space battle, or it could be in the atmosphere. Who knows? As presumably as we're escaping or something, we'll have ships attack us.
I'm going to put down here, the grav hammer cover is enhanced by an attack on it.
Okay.
... Which could be on the way in or on the way out.
So we can use that then to be like, oh, we're under attack. We need to get, access.
What do you mean I
to...
don't have the codes? I'm being attacked here. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah? Perfect. Like it.
Yeah. And I suppose so that's the event. How is that going to make Kit look cool?
Well, I get to shoot those big guns that I established for the grab hammer.
Fine. There are 2 big turrets, one top, one bottom, I think, once I put the picture up. So Kit will be shooting at them. Okay. Van, are you interested in spending intel to define an obstacle?
There's 12 people on the ship normally, minus the captain who's been taken away by ISB. But yeah, if I succeed on the roll, right? I think what I would like is to capture the rest of the crew.
I mean, when you say as opposed to, I mean, you're going to have to do that, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I think the problem is that by again making it the grab hammer, and the captain's off the ship, so she's the big one, right? But if that's the captain, then the rest of the crew aren't going to be completely like, oh, yeah, I've got more of a credit here, right? So what I'm saying is that, like, I think that what it is I would like to have the bit of them like locked in a cargo hold or something, like detached away, some sort of imprisoning them, detaining them, because they can't be free, because their loose ends will blow our cover for the actual mission.
So how will that look? How will that make Van look cool?
I think it'll make Van look cool in the same way that a bank robber's cool. Everybody be cool. It's a stick up. No one needs to get hurt. Yeah, facing down an entire crew, facing down the crew of the grab hammer, I think.
I'm not going to tie my hands to the point where all 12 of them are conveniently in one place while you intimidate them, but Van wants to confront significant portion of the crew so he can intimidate them into compliance. Yeah? Okay. Okay. Halo, is there anything, I don't know if you've got any intel, but do you want to spend an intel to define an obstacle?
I've been noodling that while everyone else is going, and I do have an intel, but I'm just not, I can't really wrap my head around anything. Most of my ideas are in the next step, so I think I'll just roll with it. So
fine. Always good to have an intel in your back pocket. So we have 2. That leaves me with 1 to spend. So what the heck? Sorry, 2 to spend. I beg your pardon. So that's our setup. So where do we open then? I'm going to go to Halo, because Halo is our driver, our pilot. You're approaching this site. Are you, oh, sorry, I have to ask you a question about how heavily loaded you are, don't I? So, remove any equipment from last time, and are you light, medium, or heavy loaded?
I'm going to do medium.
Okay, so mark that up. We don't need to worry about Zen, I suppose. Okay, and you can get rid of all of that. There we go. What about you, Kit?
So just to establish whether we have the same image, so I'm seeing kind of a loosey-goosey sort of operation run by criminals. So walking around with heavy gear might not be passe, or what do you think?
I think that what we've got here is a superficially corporate legal front.
Right.
We know that there's something fishy going on because we know that the huts are contracted to provide perimeter security. quite what Osiris has got inside the fence. We don't know.
Right. Well,
Um,
I think I'm gonna go heavy, and I'm gonna start from my sort of in the forest, you know, and try to infiltrate in. So whether I'm spotted or not, you know,
okay.
whether
To me,
being
the
heavy would
question
be best.
seems to be: are you pretending to be someone, or are you trying to sneak in? You know, and I
Yeah,
don't.
I think I'll be sneaking in. Yeah, we've already established. I've already established, you know, the weak spot. We kind of know, you know, where the grav hammer is. So I think we probably start with me in the forest. Probably gonna climb up the structure and get onto the pad. You know, from
I mean,
infiltration.
I've never raised the question about how arboreal Wookiees are, but I
Very.
quite like the idea of you climbing trees and leaping from branch to branch to get over the fence.
How arboreal are Wookiees? They live on Ashik, which is a planet made up of like 200-mile tall trees, basically.
Fine. I just never thought. I think the only picture I've ever seen of their habitations was at the lakeside, and so you know, that's great. Okay, well, that's perfect way in. Okay. What about you, Van? Light, medium, or heavy?
I think Van's always more of a medium sort of load. I don't see him someone who's overburdened with stuff unless we're truly going to war. You know, like otherwise it's all the kind of classic advent Han Solo style. You know, might have a few bits of gear, but running around as an action hero basically.
So I guess that I mean, so medium. In the first scene, when you're in whatever vehicle Halo's about to define to get you through the gate, that gear can be stowed, so I won't make you any more suspicious than everybody else. Once you start getting out and moving about, you know, medium is more suspicious than light, but that's fine. So we've got a couple of mediums and a heavy. Let's go to Halo. Halo, we've seen Kit in the undergrowth, in his camouflage, beginning to scale a tree. What's the first sight we have of you and Van approaching the perimeter gate?
Yeah, so I was thinking that it might be nice to piggyback on kind of what Van was thinking around framing the captain. And so I don't know if we need to establish the outcome of that first, but like I was thinking that if she had done her intrusion to present them identities, they could present themselves as here to take custody of the grav hammer, right? Like we're here because, you know, on the authority of, you know, I don't know if this is you know, if it's an Osiris's authority or the whoever's authority, you know, makes sense, so that we see them pulling up to the gate in a speeder, and she's flashing some sort of identification.
Okay, so this sounds like you are disguised as Imperial officers, as Zsinj's officers, come to take command of the Gazanti class. Yeah? So I think you're right. Let's start with Van. Van's preparatory action. What is that? So you're calling a contact to try and take Captain Gizzard off the board. So frame the scene for me. What do we see?
We see this speeder van that's got Patega goods and services on the side, and like a neon sign that's flickering, floating in a you know, a conduit where a Jawa is scrambling along the top. And is splicing their way into some thick cable that's running underneath the bridge that they're floating on, while inside the vehicle. And then he dangles his face down and taps on the windscreen, 2 thumbs up, nearly falling off. While inside, Van sits and talks to the other members of the Patega clan. Which that was Wiwa, who was nearly falling off, while Squackis is. There's a big spark goes out, and then Wickton is like, oh, it's fine, normal, absolutely normal. Don't worry about it.
And because they're Jawas, you are speaking. What do you mean? What's happening? Oh, you mean it's normal?
Yeah, yeah. Is it supposed to flicker like that? No. If you say so.
Okay.
Yeah. You sure they won't find us? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
So spend the stress. That gives you access.
Yep. And one thing to note is that Wickchun winks at Van as he says it, and his robotic eye freezes, and he's so.
Do you want to? You get to roll the dice. You get the option. You get expertise. Do you want the stress dice?
Sure.
Rolling to do something else.
That's a 6 on the stress die.
Oh wow! I mean, that goes about as well as you could expect, isn't it? So on a 6, this goes extremely well because it's on the stress dice. Stress goes up by another 1. Bit costly, but there you go. You mark intel, and what's the addition? No, the objective was to take Gizzard off the board.
Yeah,
and I give you that.
Yeah.
And you can define a scene if you want that shows that happening. But what is the extra benefit?
The extra benefit is we take Gizzard off the board, but we clone her code cylinder. So we have a captain who is no longer there, but we have her access codes. So, if she was around, there would be some sort of like, wait, it was used there and it's not used there. But currently, someone's got to be like connecting the dots between Gizzard in temporary interrogation versus Gizzard's code being used somewhere else.
And so what I'm seeing, I think, is as the speeder that you're in, driven by Halo, is approaching the perimeter, you see up ahead the gate swings open, and a speeder moves to walk past you, an Imperial motorcade, I think, a couple of outriders on speeder bikes, and Captain Gizzard, furiously angry in the back seat. Shouting at the people in the front seat about, and gesturing with her cuffed hands about how dare they, do this. So Halo, she's out the picture. Now the question is the work you did sufficiently robust to convince the system at the gate that you are her replacements? Now there's 2 parts of this. One, you're going to need uniforms. Neither of you has disguise, so that's not a given. So who's paying the stress to call on a contact to give you access to that disguise, and then we'll run it with your intrusion?
I can do that.
So you've got uniforms. You look the part. Does the ID that you have and the access codes that Van's Jawa contacts provided, is that enough with your intrusion to get you onto the site? So let's have you roll. Now you don't currently have. Your stress has gone up, so you do have access to your expertise because you just bought those uniforms with it. So you have expertise, stress dice if you want it.
Okay.
That's remarkable. You lot are picking up where you left off last time with just loads of 6s. So mark intel before you forget for that 6. How smoothly does this go? How do we know that this is about as good as it gets, Halo?
Yeah, I think I think we got like some sort of like I think we're posing as, in the uniforms we got are like these I don't know, maybe some sort of like feared sort of type I don't know, I don't want to use the analogy that's in my head because it's not kosher.
Let's call them the equivalent of the ISB. the Imperial Security branch. Yeah. We know
So,
who you're thinking about.
yeah. So I think as we pull up to the gate, even the speeder is issued, has all the hallmarks of, it's sort of like maybe like the black Suburbans or whatever, they hardly even they pay us any attention. They like make no eye contact. They're just like, let us in, and we just kind of like, straight to the grav hammer. So
Particularly as this perimeter security is provided by the Hutts, so all of them have records. Now I need some help with Star Wars lore here. Halo is a Myrialian, a green-skinned Myrialian. How does that fit with our sense of Zsinj's empire? Do we need in some way to explain why this green skin is being allowed in?
I may not be the right lore person for that. All I know about Marillions is they tended to be force sensitive, so they were, but I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. As somebody,
Jason, you flicked your mic on. Do you have anything to add?
I don't know either. I was just going to say, is Zsinj as racist as the Empire?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, so there are some aliens in the Empire. There are the Chiss, the Grand Admiral Thrawn, for example. They tend to be on much lower things than the rest of them. The way I imagine the Zsinj's empire, with its home on Carannia City, which is a cyberpunk dystopia, right, is that they are a little bit more like all the important people are going to be humans and Empire stuff, right? Old Empire, but these are the new ones, like your driver, for example. Maybe they're one of the good ones.
Fine, that's what, because I wanted to establish who's who in this speeder, and it sounds like Halo is the driver. Literally the driver, and Van is dressed as the officer about to take command of the Gazanti.
Yeah, I think Van is looking very uncomfortable, cleanly shaven for the first time in any depiction of Van has ever been shown.
Looking very, very sharp. Yeah. So that gets.
As we come in, he goes, "Man, I'm not sure I can get this stick firing up my ass to be an Imperial,
Let's cut to the trees, where Kit, describe what I see.
So yeah, there's these really tall trees, but this platform rises even higher. So I'm in the process of maybe jumping or swinging from the tree onto the platform, the support, and then climbing up the support, and then trying to either cut or swing my way up onto the pad where the grav.
Let's get you across the perimeter fence to start with, then. So
okay.
This I think I go with military fieldcraft for this.
Okay.
So expertise and the stress dice if you want it.
All right. Ooh, that's a 3.
Ooh, isn't that interesting?
This might be the time to use my specialism. Although I guess my specialism wouldn't apply here, would it?
I don't think it does, because it's the dangerous bit of you rather than your kind of.
I'll just go with a 3. We need some complications, so I'll just live with the 3.
Okay, so on a 3, I think the way to do this is as maintain your cover.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone spot you? 1 to 3, you're blown. Choose to either get caught or mark heat and flee for your life.
I've been caught.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. So just tell me what that looks like then.
I think I swing up onto the pad, but there were sensors that I didn't realize that had alerted the 11 crew of the grav hammer.
No, let's let the crew are on the ship. This is inside the perimeter.
The nameless mercenaries then, are standing there with blasters on me, and I drop my weapons and I'm taken prisoner.
Dressed in Osiris security uniforms. and yeah, the blasters, and we see you being marched away. And of course, you have to have the cuffs on,
Of course.
because how else can the Wookiee be taken prisoner other than with the cuffs on? Let me cut back then to Van. Van, you're through perimeter, but you're getting nothing on comms from Kit, which is not a good sign. What do we see next?
Can we even say that as we're waved through by one of the Osiris mercs? He goes like, "Oh, please. Sorry, sir, there's just a Wookiee sneaking in. You know what they're like, those animals. Like,
I'm
yeah,
very happy because you got a
Yeah,
6 on
yeah.
that, as I remember. So yeah, I'm very happy for that to be one of the benefits.
yeah." And I just nod and go, "Well, good to see you're keeping up security here. Osiris deserves its reputation, despite all the scum and villainy you have working for you here." He glowers at the guards.
Thank you, I think, sir.
Just do the make it so movement to get Halo to drive us through. And as soon as we go to this bit, that goddamn walking carpet, that Forspawn walking carpet got captured. I told him to leave behind the heavy explosives in the duffel bag. He had to come in heavy. Just has to come in with everything.
So because we've said this is an extensive site. There's an admin building. There's there's access to various pads. Where do we see where are we going next, Van?
You gonna take his ass out of the fire, Halo, or am I?
Halo.
I tell you what.
Go ahead.
This is gonna make it risky, but captured Wookiee, captured Rebel spy. I think it's time for us to. He taps the fake Imperial officer's badge on his chest, right? It's time for us to say that this Wookiee needs to go meet Zsinj.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So I think that we need to low-key work out where they've taken him to, perhaps.
Well, am I seeing you pull up in front of, Osiris, the central admin building, to find that out?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. We're heading towards the grav hammer. And you just see Van go like, "Ugh," as we turn away from it and go to the other side.
Yeah, I think we could probably use the activity that occurred last time as, it sounds like this Wookiee meets the description of a criminal or a rebel that had been involved in this situation, and we've been Zsinj would be would want to interrogate them personally or something.
I mean, I'm half tempted to say we've captured Chewbacca, the notorious rebel. Yeah. I don't think it helps us though.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't quite know how Chewbacca is viewed by other Wookiees, because he gets all that credit. I don't know.
He was a general in Clone Wars. That's how they view it. Yeah.
So they, that Halo pulls up smoothly in front of this, glossy glass and concrete Osiris site administration. And I'm seeing Van, with that rod where the sun don't shine, marching up the stairs towards it, while Halo follows on behind, as bag carrier. But before we get to this, I think I want to know from Kit. Kit, they march you off the pad, not the grav hammer pad, but the first one you landed on your way to the grav hammer. They march you off there. What do we see of Kit in this period of time, if anything?
I'm in an interrogation room. There's like half a dozen of these mercenaries, and but they've lost. I'm still secured, but they've sort of lost interest in me because they found the bag of credits that I stole from Halo. So they're very interested in that bag of credits. So they're pouring it out and they're fighting over, who gets which pile of credits.
Well, we'll worry about the fighting over in a bit, you know. But I think at this point they found that, you know, you're sat in the background. There's a big table. They've got the big kind of kit bag that you carried in. That, you know, there's the bowcaster. There's the explosives, and then out comes this smaller bag, and inside credits. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we've seen. Cut back to Van. Do you do the talking, or does Halo? Does your bag carrier talk for you, or do you?
I do have authority, and we do have, thanks to these disguises, the fictional positioning for this authority to mean something.
We do indeed.
Yeah.
So what do I see at reception? Where, you know, there's a couple of Osiris functionaries. You know, they're just talking, and then out the corner of their eye, they see you come through. You know, the doors go zzz, and you walk in. You know, I almost sort of
as I think the camera cuts to just those feet, you know, the boots goose stepping down the corridor, right? Like, yeah.
Across this big atrium, and they look up. Yes, sir.
We captured a prisoner intruding upon the base. I wish you will release him to me for interrogation aboard the Gravhammer immediately.
I think that's maintain your cover. And I think, given the fictional positioning we're in, I'm gonna, even though you don't technically have disguise, I'm gonna give you the benefit because you've got, as you say, the fictional positioning. So expertise is in place, right? Stress dice if you want it.
Yeah. And I've given myself disguise kit as a bit of gear, thanks to being acquired by somebody else, right? So
okay.
Yeah.
That's a pair of twos.
Okay, so I am connected to the room. It's doing that weird thing where it's not fully connected to the room. Like I can't. Yeah.
Well, I can see a pair of twos. So I'm gonna grab that that heat while I can get it as they move up the alarmed, because, you know, clearly the base is now more alarmed than it was a little while ago because they caught a Wookiee breaking in. Halo, you can see this conversation is not going particularly well, because the guy says, you'll understand, I do need to see your credentials, Colonel or Captain, ranks. And they are getting very interested in what's online, because at the moment, on the maintain your cover, you're blown, choose to either get caught or mark heat and flee for your life. But I want to give Halo a chance to do something, maybe, I don't know. Because I'm not sure you've got much options unless you want to call on a contact here, Van.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to, but I'm also tempted to see how it goes. Let's see what Halo wants to do before I call on a contact.
Halo, have you got any thoughts about how you can drag this back?
Yeah, so I think let me throw this out there and we'll see if this. So I think what she sees that Van is fumbling, you know, on his sort of like, you know, maybe he's fidgeting too much with his collar and stuff too, as he's trying to maintain his authority. And I think what I was thinking is that she would maybe to kind of distract everybody from him doing that she's going to go over to Kit.
Kit's not in the scene. Kit's
I thought we were in the room with them.
No, sorry, this is getting across the threshold of the admin building. You are right at the front door.
I got nothing then, because I was gonna assault Kit and
try and make it more convincing. So Van, it's back to you. At the minute, what's on the table is get caught or flee for your life.
Well, could I maybe kind of like along those same vines, could I like maybe get in the face of the guy, you know, and just you know, be like, you know, hey, you know, this Wookiee's killed, you know, countless, you know, just like really like lean in somehow. I don't know if there's a move for that or anything like that to just.
There isn't an assist. I just wanted to know what you were doing before I go to Van and say.
Yeah, so this approach going in through the front has failed, right? In terms of this, we didn't really establish that Halo necessarily came in with me. You have intrusion and stuff. You could try going in the back door or something, right? Like,
I think to be honest, the fictional positioning is pretty clear. Your driver, you know, I think it's going to be difficult for the driver to strip out of their uniform and clamber up the outside of the building. So you've got three options, Van. You've got blown, get caught, or mark heat and flee for your life, or call in a contact that somehow gets you a reroll on this. It's that dire.
yeah. I think get caught, to be perfectly honest with you. Screw it. Yeah.
I love that we at the start of this afternoon, we started with we get caught and carried on board. And suddenly we are at a place where Van is getting caught. Now, Halo, Van is about to get caught. That's not you.
Can I suggest how I'm getting caught?
I just want to get some sense from Halo about which way this is going, because I'm just curious whether Halo wants to get caught or not. But go ahead. Van, go on. Tell me how you're going to get caught.
What it is that the Bottega clan swore to me that their work was great, and here is the code cylinder, and it's perfect, and it's been, you know, rejigged just enough for you to use it. And as they go, of course, you know, they type in zoom, zoom. Like, it's a completely different face. I think that what they've done is it's just got like a Jawa in the placeholder image. They've not removed it, and so it's very clearly Van is not the person that the code cylinder claims him to be.
Halo,
just stiff-spit Jawas.
Halo, are you looking amazed at this turn of events? How can your commanding officer not be who he claims to be? Or are you going to go with the get caught? Or flee for your life?
No, can she basically draw her weapon and basically she's just gonna very kind of dramatically be like, you traitorous scum, and maybe clock him like with the barrel of her weapon and help and just jump in, helping take custody of him.
I like that. Do you want to turn that into Secretly from the Horror by thumping Van?
No, I think. Well, I mean, I think what she's just going to do is, I think, you know, she's going to try to maintain her fictional positioning and cover. Fine. And maybe salvage something out of this.
Fine. Let's have you roll to maintain your cover. I'm not sure you have disguise. Is there anything else that might just give you an edge here? Otherwise, it's just the gray dice and the stress dice if you want it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you know, unless there's any carryover from her really good.
I think that ship has sailed now.
So I'll do the stress die too.
Oh, look at that. 6. So stress automatically goes up. That must be getting a bit tricky. And you, I'm going to assume that your benefit is you are absolutely part of the detail taking Van to security. Yeah. Wow. How did that go so pear-shaped so quickly? I think that as some Osiris security come out of a back room and, you know, form up around Van with you to march him to security. And I think, given that we are 3 minutes to the hour, I'm going to say, shall we take another break now and come back at 5 past the hour? See you then. Wow. Okay, back from our commercial break as the operation seems to be going down the toilet. What started as we'll just get on board the Gravhammer and fly to the Iron Fist and all will be well, has turned into Kit in security with 4 of the local guards. Van being escorted to security by 4 of the guards, and Halo. What happens next? I'm going to go to Halo, because Halo, you are in kind of reasonable control of the situation, as much as nobody has a gun on you or anything. So Halo, what's your thinking at this point?
Well, I was, with that 6, I was kind of, let me ask if this is too much, but I was kind of hoping from the extra benefit perspective, she wants to try to take command, like take control of the situation and say, I'll take both these prisoners to Zsinj. So maybe instead of taking them to a additional detention, maybe she could try to get them to the Gravhammer.
I think that's a possibility. I think that it's going to be via security. That you get to go to security so you can reunite all 3 of you in the same space at the same time. I think that's probably as far as that benefit's going to get you. So you're gonna. That's what I think you're pitching at this point. Kit, they took your comms away, they took your gear away. You sat in, you're tied to this chair. What happens, if anything, or do we just see that and then cut back to the corridor?
So from Halo's last thing, now are they going to release me to Halo then or not? Or
I think we don't know that yet.
Okay, it's going to require something.
This will come
more
down, I think, to whole Halo. Halo is in a good position. Can Halo bluff that?
Okay.
My commanding officer turned out to be false, but I'm, I may just be a junior, but hell, fire, So Kit, are you going to sit tight and see how that goes?
No. So this is all going according to plan, because when they pour out the credits out of the bag, the last thing that rolls out is a grenade. And I would like to, if it's okay with you guys, to establish our gear benefit from our ship as tech equipment and explosives. And we flash back to, we see the Jawa clan, what's it, Tegi clan, Pategi, explaining that, this definitely won't kill them, but it'll knock out anybody in the room. And it's maybe like it could be gas, it could be electricity, I'm not sure. So when that comes out, it springs and it knocks all these guys out, presumably.
Well, shall we see? So this is confronting them.
Okay.
And your objective here is to have at least them subdued.
Yes.
Yeah, fine. So it's some kind of stun grenade that's going to go off when that bag is unpacked by anyone not taking the right precautions. So we see this, and then it goes beep, 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 beep. Let's have you roll. You have I think expertise. Hang on. So this is calling a contact, isn't it? To have
I'm
them
using
set
the
up
ship
the booby
benefit.
trap.
Or can it just be part of the tech equipment? Okay.
Okay. No, fair enough. Yeah. No, go with it. Is there expertise at play here? I think your deadly expertise.
Here? Okay.
Yeah, I think I'll go with that.
Maybe there's a few punches involved. Expertise die, does that apply here?
I think either expertise or deadly, because you're trying to subdue them rather than necessarily blow them all up, which would be slightly more difficult.
And do I do danger dice?
No, I think because you've set this up as a surprise.
Okay. So I got 3 dice. Let's go. Come on, dice. Okay, I got a couple 6s.
And one of them's on the stress dice, so stress goes up by 1. But this goes beautifully. How beautifully does this go? And how does this not lead to you being unconscious when the next group of people march into the room?
Maybe it shoots out these darts, that are, have some sort of AI that, hones in on anyone but Wookiees. And do I get an intel for a 6 on this?
You do. You do.
Okay.
So yeah, and I think probably, Halo, do you want to be at the front when the doors open onto this scene, or at the back?
I think the back.
Fine. So there are 4 guys, marching along the corridor with Van in the middle, you at the back, and one of them reaches forward and the doors open, and that's when we see the 4 people inside just go onto the ground. Van, you are closer to the front than anybody else. What, if anything, do you do?
Headbutt the guy who's behind me.
Fine. Let's have you confront this pawn of the conspiracy for the purposes of the argument. They are nameless, so 1 hit will take them out. Let's have you roll. There's the outside possibility, I think, that something could go pear-shaped for you. So you're rolling 1 risk die. You have expertise, stress die if you want it.
I'll spend the stress die, why not?
Because, yeah, you're only on 3 stress.
Fail.
What the heck?
I fail.
Oh, no. God, you are doing so well today. You're just picking up where the last game we were in left off. So I will mark heat, which is, alarmed. They are now properly alarmed. Maybe some alarm is about to go off. I don't know. But yeah, that's a fail unless you have. And what did you roll on the risk die? A 5.
Yeah, so it's like a full fail.
It is a proper fail.
Yeah, so I don't think I get to. I think what actually happens is they walk into the room and they don't have that moment of hesitation. I think they just draw and shoot immediately.
Fine. So let's have you roll a d6 for a harmful consequence. You get +3. So the only reason doing this is in case you get a natural 6.
Yeah, it's a 3. So no, I don't.
3, okay. So on a 4+, you were lucky. It's going to be 4+, but it's not a natural 6. So lucky you get, there's a wild shot or somebody goes to club you. It hurts, but no permanent harm.
Yeah, there's a shot. I go down. The guy backs up away. Stay away from me, rebel scum. But when Van gets up, it will just be a scar through his
his uniform.
Yeah,
which may or may not be in an obscure place depending on how the rest of the session goes.
What I think that means is that I'm going to cross out that disguise gear.
Okay, fair enough. Halo. Doors open. You see these guys fall over inside. Van makes a break for it. Doesn't go well. What do you do?
How many other guards are there?
There are 4 guards with you.
So she probably couldn't take them all out, could she?
Not likely in a single round.
Maybe pear-shaped is an understatement here.
Captured, not captured, captured, not captured.
Yeah, I mean, I'm vacillating between just her opening fire on the guards from behind, and actually shooting Van, and like stunning Van, like to maintain her
cover. And hoping that Kit takes your lead.
Is stunning a thing? It is. It's opening scene of Star Wars. They stun.
Well,
Princess.
Take them out. You tell me what you try to do.
Yeah, so that's what she's going to do. So she's going to try to temporarily incapacitate Van to maintain her, to bring the kind of situation back under control, to try to maintain her cover.
This depends entirely, Van, on what you do, because I think what I'm seeing here is Halo, stepping forward with the butt of the gun and leaning into you and saying, "Follow my lead, lie down."
Yeah, I'm going to level with you. I think that this operation so far, I think that as players, we're not doing a very good job of following on from each other's fiction and doing stuff right. Like, we just knocked out a whole room of people after Halo did deploy to take us in as prisoners to the Gravhammer. So if we're going back to that plan, I'm happy with whatever. I don't want to keep doing fight, not fight, fight, not fight. Like, let's do one or the other, So whatever goes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think about, like, if if our
pulling
goal
this back.
is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if
yeah.
our goal is to get on this ship and then have this ship be able to get on the Star Destroyer, if
Yeah.
we are shooting it out on this base and then running
Oh,
to the ship,
I,
I
I
don't know
agree
how
with
we
you
get
entirely.
there.
I agree with you entirely. So
Yeah.
like whatever you say, do, I'm with you on whatever goes, you know?
Fine.
Like I'm being very passive in this, basically.
So at this point, I think Van goes down in a heap following Halo's lead. I'm not going to make Halo maintain their cover for this. Kit, does the penny drop of what's going on in the corridor?
So at this point, what I've done in the interrogation room, is that separate from what's going on with these
No,
guys, or
The
they've
door's
opened the
open.
door? Okay,
Saw your guards go down in a heap,
right.
reacted accordingly. Halo appears to be trying to build on that to say they're really dangerous. We need to get them on the grav hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Van has gone along with that, feigning collapse to help Halo's cover. The question now is, do you want to go with that, or do you want to go against that?
Yeah, I appreciate what Will's saying, but I guess what what I've already established, I guess I have to kind of just fight my way through then. So
Because you're
I
still
mean,
tied to the chair.
right. Yeah, I guess it's time for a feat of strength to try to bust out then, I guess.
Okay, roll to do something else. I will give you military expertise to see if you can free yourself.
Okay.
Stress dice if you want it.
No, I'll pass on the stress die this time. There's a 2.
I am going to mark heat, which now I think we cut to the car in which Captain Gizzard is being taken into Carannia City. And, through on the comms to the escort comes, look, we've got trouble. Osiris have reported a Wookiee intrusion and someone trying to con their way onto the base. We think Shazar's been set up. Get her back. And so the motorcade swirls round and is heading back towards the base. Kit is still tied to the chair. Van is feigning unconsciousness. Halo, what's your pitch? Because it looks like the Wookiee is convincing as being a bad guy from their point of view, from your disguise point of view. How do you try to move this on?
Yeah, I think she's going to try to she's going to start yelling at the security and be like, what kind of rinky dink operation do you have here? This is obviously not secure. I'm taking these prisoners right now to the grav hammer where they can be properly secured and just that's kind of what she's going to try to do.
Fine. I am going to cut to the grav hammer because I think there's no fictional positioning that gives you a shot at anything here, Kit. Where I think that I'm seeing Van and Kit, in 2 flight chairs with manacles, holding them in place. I'm seeing Halo. We'll talk about where Halo wants to be, but appears to be in a position of saying what you just said. But I think to make this entirely convincing, Gizzard has to be back on board. Because otherwise, who's going to take command of the grav hammer? We've established Halo doesn't have the profile or rank to do it. But I'm going to throw it open to you. Does the table want Gizzard back on the grav hammer or not?
Sure.
We could try to blast our way out, and then Jason would get his TIE fighter fight.
Well, I it's for me to present a situation that involves some kind of space battle. Yeah. which may or may not set you up to enable you to do something. But that's why I'm asking if you want Gizzard back on the ship or not. And Kit says, yeah, go with it. Yeah, fine. That's a majority in favor. Gizzard marches on, and we see her looking at the pair of you in your manacles and marching up to the bridge and says, you, come with me to Halo. Unless Halo wants to be somewhere else on the ship.
Nope, that works for me.
Fine. And then we see the Graf Hammer taking off. It seems to me that between now and in about 20 minutes' time, we kind of either find a way to make this a success, or the next opening is you arriving on the Iron Fist as prisoners with Halo, as the hero of the hour. So
proposal.
Say again?
I haven't used the Force yet. So
you haven't.
Yeah.
Is that a tempting option?
Is in my expertise is in what? I can sense things in perception, is that right? So it's not all I can do with the expertise there.
You have
but I
you
could
can use your other talents to use investigate, maintain your cover, or flee for your life.
Yeah. I'll take them out, in fact. Even.
Oh, you indeed take them out. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the minute, so you're manacled, and there can be a guard present if you want there to be a guard present. But I think the initial challenge is the manacles.
Yeah. What move do you think it is, though, in terms of these cuffs are tight enough?
Well, maintain your cover.
Yeah.
Maintain your cover is. I don't know what's happened here, soldier, but I shouldn't be in these manacles. That would be the way I'd play maintain your cover here, if that was a way you wanted to go.
Well, I was just thinking that this is the point where we take the ship, right? Like, now that we're captured on board the Graf Hammer, this is the point where we break out and we have to take the ship in a sort of quickly and quietly mode, basically. I'm done with the pretending and the double layers of it all. We failed so many times. I really actually don't like when we keep trying to claw back like cover that's been blown a billion times. Like, it doesn't feel right to me in fiction. This is the point of like, we are now in the open. We're improvising. We're in free jazz style of the portion of the phase of the adventure. So I would like to maintain my cover in the sense of they think that they've locked us up and they haven't.
Okay. So this is use the Force then to do that. So we're talking about using maintain your cover. That works. Make the roll. Mark stress. Roll a d6. You can add your stress dice if you're willing to take that risk.
Yeah.
But in effect, you are trying to reassert in the mind of the guards your disguise.
Yeah, and I think that there's not really any actions that's done. It's more if it pulls it off, right? The camera's just going to like show them doing all of it, and then as they pan away, we're not in chains at all. We're just sort of
exactly. So expertise is in play because you gain the benefit of disguise. So with expertise, stress dice if you want it. Rock and roll.
5.
Ah, at last.
And that's the success. Yeah.
As Halo and Captain Gizzard march up to the bridge, the guard at the door turns to close the door behind them. And yet, when we pan back to you and Kit, you're not in manacles.
Yeah, the stormtrooper goes, make sure you get them tight. Wookiees are real strong. Don't worry about it. I've got him real. He's not going to move out of this. Look. He's completely safe. And then we cut back to Kit just.
So, Kit, I am going to go to you because the stormtrooper turns back to check the manacles. What do we see you doing?
I mean, the obvious thing is just to go ahead and knock them out. But yeah, like I'm trying to like, we need to get to a place where, like people were saying, like we have to have sort of like the positioning to be able to like be allowed onto the Iron Hammer. So, and I also established that we want to have these mercenaries, you know, pursuing the ship for some reason and getting shot at. So I'm trying to figure out how to.
Don't worry about the mercenaries. Leave them to me.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll just knock out these stormtroopers then that are guarding
Because that
us.
at least gives you some freedom of action, doesn't it?
Sure.
So
sure.
let's have you roll. It's gray and orange. You get the deadly dice. Stress if you want it.
Okay, let's do it all. We need some successes. I got a 5 on the stress.
5 on the stress dice. Stress goes up by 1. Guy goes down in a heap.
Okay.
Meanwhile, on the bridge, Gizzard is congratulating you, Halo, on on the way in which you kept your cool in the situation. If it hadn't been for you, this could have gone very differently. I'll make sure that Admiral Zsinj hears about this, because it's people like you, and I appreciate that you're not human, but there are people like you, I think, who we can find a place for.
Yeah, so she's just doing her best goose stepping salute sort of action, and maybe she's like, I'm just doing my duty for the Empire, and these this the lack of order, we just need order and stability, and she's kind of parroting off all of the little imperial things that she's doing, and so
yeah, no, that works for me. So Van and Kit, what happens next? Because they think you're locked up. You're not locked up.
I grab one of the stormtroopers' blaster rifles. And I look at Kit and say, well, this wasn't quite the plan, but all we need to do is cut off their comms, take the ship, and we can play it out. We can wing it from there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Love it. Love it. You got to do this together or separately? Is this where somebody heads for the bridge and somebody heads somewhere else, or is it both to the bridge? What's happening?
Yeah, I probably split up. Yeah.
Because how else would this play in the writer's room? So Van, you're heading up to the bridge in uniform with a stormtrooper's gun. Yeah. Kit, you're heading. I would suggest the reason you go somewhere else is you need to find your gear.
Yeah, I was gonna say I rip open a locker or something and grab my gear, or I can go find it.
Go find it. Yeah. Now, Kit, I'm going to come to you first because you are most likely to encounter someone and for them to be vaguely suspicious of you. So set that up for me. How do we see you in that situation?
I mean, I would probably see if it was me directing it, it would be a montage of the Wookiee going through and like throwing people around as he tends to do. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Let's wrap all that up into one confront, and at the end of that confront, you will or will not have access to your gear.
Okay.
So all the dice are in play if you want them. I think I'm going to have you roll 2 risk die because there's a lot going on in this montage.
All right, I'm rolling everything. I got
look at
lots
that,
of 6s.
6. So it goes perfectly for you, but equal to or greater than. It looks like one of them got a shot off at you.
Okay.
But these are, again, nameless Imperial stormtroopers. So you're going to roll a dice and add 3. So you're not going to be permanently harmed here, but a natural 6. Was that a natural 6?
Yeah, it was a natural 6.
Brilliant. Because on a natural 6, you also get to mark intel.
And do I get a 6 from the initial roll or an intel from the initial roll too?
You do.
So 2 intel off all that?
You get 2 intel off all of that, but of course stress goes up by 1 because of that 6 on the stress dice.
Alrighty. Okay.
But yeah, and then we see you tearing open the locker and there's all your gear. Van, you're going the other direction to the front end of the ship, as we describe it in technical terms. What do
Yeah.
we see in the montage that will end up with you on the bridge?
As he's walking, he thumbs through the stormtrooper's comlink and and he gets to the one that goes to Halo's in-ear one, and he says, "Turn off get their comms shut down. You know, we're going to take the bridge now."
Halo, what do you do?
How many people are on the bridge?
Hang on, I've got a map and it shows that the bridge has what was I going to say? It's got, as far as I can see, it's got seating for about half a dozen. Hang on. 1, 2, 4. Four people on the bridge, and the captain standing with you.
Yeah, I was thinking about mechanically if she dropped a stun grenade in here to try to help take the bridge, what does that, you know, what does that do? That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
I'm on board for freestyle jazz now. So so she's she hears that, and then she's going to kind of casually step back towards the, like, I'm envisioning there's like doors and then the bridge spreads out in front of it. So she's kind of like casually moving herself back towards the doors, and then she's gonna lob a stun grenade back into the and just kind of turn and, you know, turn and protect her face from the she's gonna stay in the, can she stay in there and like turn and like protect herself to not be stuck?
I've just shared the Gazanti plans, right? What we see is Van moving along this corridor from where they were secured, and heading up towards the bridge upstairs. We see some crew members going about their business, ignoring stuff. And at the same time, I think all hell breaks loose at this end of the corridor, the back end of the corridor, where Kit is, you know, wreaking havoc. And up here on the bridge, you've had the conversation. You've drifted towards the door of the bridge. You open the door of the bridge. As it's closing, you roll a grenade in just as Van arrives at the top of the steps next to you. So let's see how that goes, Halo.
All right.
Rolling to confront with expertise, stress dice if you want it.
Well, if I hit my stress, I'm gone. So I probably should not use my stress die.
Let's hope you don't get a 6 then.
So I'm regular. I don't think I have any expertise.
Remember, you can erase an intel to reduce your stress by 1 just by focusing on the job in hand.
Oh, I'm going to do that because I have 3 intel, so I can trade 1 for 1.
You can.
All right, that will give me enough room to add that. And then, did you say expertise too?
Expertise, yeah.
All right.
I mean, what is there to do? You're rolling a grenade into the middle of a room. Hell. Look at that 6.
All right.
You know, door closes, Van appears on your shoulder. There's a kind of woof from beyond the door. And on that 6, I'm going to let you take down Gizzard as well. Yeah? So perfect. I'll stop that share now. I'm looking at the clock and I'm thinking the door opens, you know, there's kind of smoke and there's Gizzard in a heap on the ground, 4 slumped crew members, and other crew members coming out of their bunk rooms on the deck below, because they've heard all the chaos that Kit has caused, throwing people about, tearing into stuff.
Well, then do they step into the corridor where they are greeted by a blaster rifle and a smile?
I think that's where we see that scene
Yeah.
of Van convincing people this is no time to be a hero.
Yeah, we're all fine here. How are you? Get back to your bunk. Yeah.
I think that's probably roll to do something else.
Yeah, with authority.
Authorities in play.
Yeah. I'll take the stress die. That's a 5 on the stress die. Stress goes up.
But they go into their bunk rooms. They carry their buddies and Gizzard into the bunk rooms.
Yeah.
And, central locking kicks in.
Yeah, and then I shoot the control panel.
Fine. Kit. Now you've got the option here. I think that this is when the mercenaries that you'd planned to have attack the ship.
Oh, right.
Kick in, yeah? And the trick here is for you to put up an appropriately convincing defense of the Gazanti so that the Iron Fist believes you're under attack, launches a TIE Fighter screen to escort you onto the ship. Unless you tell me that's not the way you wanted to go. That's what's in my head at this point.
No, that's good, Alan. I forgot about that part, but that brings it all together. It's all part of the plan, guys.
It's all part of the plan. This is going perfectly.
Exactly. So, and obviously they're drone ships that are attacking us because the mercenaries don't want to,
Of course.
So,
of course.
So yeah, so I climb into that turret and shoot these drone ships that are putting up a nice show.
And Van, what am I hearing on control as Halo slots into the pilot seat? What am I hearing on comms to the Iron Fist?
We're under attack. The captain's been injured. We're going to need to come in. You need an escort. And I think that
coming in hot.
Yeah. So I think that our clock for the next mission, what I'm trying to set up there, is that we will have Captain Damon Gizzard delivered to the ship as in we're her loyal crew, and that's our cover here, right? And then it'd be a case of for as long as she's unconscious in the med bay, no one can prove that we're not the crew of the thing.
I like that. So Kit, let's have you roll to confront a fake attack convincingly.
Okay. I will not use my stress die. Deadly?
I think I'll give you deadly. Yeah.
Okay. Any danger dice, or is really not any danger?
I think there is a danger dice, because the danger dice is how convincing this is, right? This isn't going to actually do harm to you, but I think there is a danger dice in play. If it comes up too high, it's not sufficiently convincing.
Just one?
Just the one.
Okay.
Because the drones aren't programmed to make this difficult for you.
6 on the deadly.
Oh, wow. So, and what this allows you to do, I think, is not blow them all out of the sky, but it allows you to just make it convincing that you're trying to blow them out of the sky. And that means that the Iron Fist sees this on its screens and cut to the bridge of the Iron Fist. So we have the Gravhammer. There appears to have been an attack. They're coming in. They're closing fast. Should I deploy the screen? Now, we've not established whether Zsinj is on board. Do we want Zsinj to be aboard? Or should we leave it as some captain and we'll worry about Zsinj next time? I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with a captain on the bridge.
Sir, and then there's just a hand on the chair, right? Not seen in a shot.
Right.
And engage deploy the screen, says operations officer. And pairs of TIE fighters streaking away from the Iron Fist towards the Gravhammer. Halo, how are you selling? We're in trouble. What does the approach of the Gravhammer look like? Because you're in the pilot seat.
Yeah, I think she steers into blasts occasionally, so that they take some hits, but not, and then she probably over dramatizes the of everything to make it, to help sell that and everything.
Fine. And therefore I think that is our op, because I think the last of the mercenaries peel away, driven off by the firing from the Gravhammer and the threat of the TIE fighters. And I think I'm seeing, two TIE fighters zoom into the landing, to the launch bay of the Iron Fist, with a kind of blast marks on the side of the Gravhammer, just settling. And I think that's our closing shot for this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting question about whether that was a successful mission, but let's have that debrief conversation now.
Okay.
Because that I don't. It was probably terrible for you three, but I had a lot of fun with that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alan, with the 6 that I got, can I have an additional benefit being that, like, since they're launching TIE fighters from like the primary hangar, maybe they bring us into like a quiet secondary hangar, that might give us a little bit of advantage? Sure.
Yeah, not from the TIE fighter launch bay. No. So I think the TIE fighters kind of escort in and then, peel away as you go into this hangar. Yeah,
sure.
Fine. So, debrief. Did the team achieve the stated objective of the operation? Now, the operation said steal an Imperial shutter, etc., for covert entry in plain sight to the Iron Fist. I think we probably modified that by the time we got to the end of the briefing, but that is the one that's written down. So I think that is a success.
Yeah.
Did you take out a Sith? Not this time. But therefore, I'm going to reduce heat by 1. Which takes you down from capture, which seems to fit, bizarrely. And each of you reduces stress by 1, which has to be some kind of relief at this point in the proceedings.
Yeah.
And we'll worry about which of the cargo containers Zen Repeak is hidden in next time out. But that, I think, is our session for today. We'll worry about a bit of downtime, I think, next time. Because I'm afraid to let you roll any dice at this point in case something goes horribly pear-shaped. But let's have a brief stars and wishes on what I have to say has been one of the most up and downy kind of games of Against the Dark Conspiracy I've ever run. So, any stars, any wishes? Kit, Jason, any stars? Or just a sigh of relief?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was up and down, kind of confusing, but it all worked out in the end. I appreciate what Will said in the middle of our session about, like, where are we going with this? We're going back and forth, but I don't know. It's interesting. I'll think about it more, but like, what comes, like, do you roll the dice and then create the fiction from what you get, or do you try to, like, create some sort of pathway fiction wise and then try to follow it? Like, I suppose you could do either, but I don't know. I always feel like play this game, you make it up as you go. Like, and if you look too closely, I don't think many of these stories make a lot of sense, but I think that's just kind of comes with what we're doing, but that's my thoughts.
Any wishes for next time?
I don't know. I think we need to get back to, for some reason, maybe the Sith are also here to get that
how could that be?
Tech, that stealth tech.
How could that be?
Mm-hmm.
There has to be some Sith involvement in the finale, otherwise this is not Against the Sith Conspiracy. Fine. Joe, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, I think I agree. It was up and down and all over the place, but kind of Star Warsy in itself. In that there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense in Star Wars, so that's maybe fine. I think from a wishes, maybe to Will's point, maybe as players get a little on the same page ahead of our ops and stuff. But I mean, again, all's well that ends well. So
yeah, fine. I get that. Will, any stars, any wishes?
Stars for, I think, making the most out of it, you know, like definitely up and down. To tie in a wish, I actually would think that it would have been fine for us to fail the mission and have to bug out, frankly, because we did completely. But I also would say, I think we came into it with incoherent expectations because we framed up we're going to steal an Imperial ship, we're going to steal a ship to get on board. We turned it into the grav hammer. We then made it much harder for any of that to gel together. That kind of got rid of the whole idea of it being like the Hutts and a criminal sort of enterprise and Osiris, like using the shady black marketplace. As soon as we put the grav hammer there, that became pretty much irrelevant in regards to the mission, right? Like we were just getting onto an Imperial ship at that point. Having a TIE fighter attack is a cool thing to have, but again, doesn't go with the mission that we established until we did sort of get it in there in the end in terms of like it providing cover to say like, no, we are definitely good because we fought off.
Why else would they be attacking us?
Yeah, exactly. We can't be with them. It worked, but I do think that like this game works best when people are not just on board on the same page in terms of like the objective, but also the approaches that you are taking in terms of, are we undercover? Are we stealthing? Are we open? Like the base questions, like in the Blades in the Dark, are we going in hot or are we going in cold kind of thing? Are we doing the, like Kit sneaking into the base versus being on the land speeder with us, for example, right? Or and I think rolling from failure would have been interesting, and I liked pulling it back, but we didn't quite. But it's you're always going to have a session or two like that, right? Like it's going to be tough, and I think it was still fun to play through. It just left me with like, whenever it came back to me, like, well, I don't know because I don't know where we're going with this, and I don't know what we're doing with this, and I don't want to add to the confusion. I want to go down a route, right? So
well, I think you did the right thing at the point when you're on the grav hammer to say, are we going to go with this or not? And likewise, I think, Joe, at the point where you tried to reestablish I'm now going to take command. It was going to be Van who was going to be in charge of of getting us on this ship. Now it's down to me. And the fact that you all fell in with that, I think, once you got to the ship, then it was interesting.
Yeah,
the use of force.
But it would have been an interesting one to do. My wish would have been almost that we did fail that mission and we had to flee for our lives from a failed operation and come up with another way to get on board the Iron Fist that would perhaps be less undercover, or we would have to do the sneak on board the ship by docking with its garbage compactor or something. Like some sort of mad attempt. But like. I don't think in all the times of playing this, we've ever actually failed a mission that hasn't been a case of like you've used complication that changed the thing. We've never failed a mission purely in terms of failed dice rolls, at critical points, basically.
And lots of those today. Lots of those today.
And my wish is, like you say, just to have a Sith asset on board. I'm kind of one of the things I wanted to do with the wish on the Star Destroyer one was for that to be like almost like a dual heist, right? Like the Sith are going after it, we're going after it, and then Zsinj is there at the same time, like two competing conspiratorial groups, basically.
Yeah. What I'm imagining for next time's briefing is, because you're not going to run a briefing based on scenes on the ship. We'll flash back to the second half of the planning where you said, and once we're on board, these are the things we need to know, and therefore we'll run the briefing scenes as if you're on the planet, because then you've got more scope for that. And then
we obviously on the ship we go, right, as we said before, here's the mission again. But exactly. I know you all know this kind of style. Yeah.
No, my stars rolling with the chaos, dragging it back in at a variety of stages where it could have gone one way or the other, and just going with a bit of framing I provided. So I'm going to pause the recording now,